after all the trouble that you are going through to ensure that you're eating organic foods, to ensure that your cookware is not toxic, to ensure that your environment is non-toxic, I'm going to chuck another one at you, and that is your clothes. That's correct. These clothes, your clothes, may actually be making you sick and may be the cause for the disease that you currently may have or the symptoms that you may be suffering with. Today's episode is going to be a mind-blowing episode. It's going to make you think about the clothes that you wear, that your kids wear, that your family and friends wear, right? That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to, plant a seed and ensure that you know how to ensure that you are not wearing toxic clothes. So today I want to talk about what toxic chemicals should you be most worried about in your clothes, what common clothing to avoid potentially, and then 3 tips to ensure that your clothes are not making you sick. Let's get into it. It's Mondays with Mihaela. That's right, Maggie. Thank you so much for tuning in. I absolutely love, and appreciate your support. For any of you who don't know me, I'm Mihaela. I'm a qualified naturopath, and I'm here absolutely passionate about all things health, business, and overall success. I'm here to provide you with simple, savvy, and sustainable health hacks to optimize your health for Mondays with Mihaela, which is a segment of the Natural Health Podcast. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast so you get notified every single time a new episode come out. And I'm talking about 4 new episodes a week. I'm bombarding you with information. I'm giving it all to you for free so you can have an optimized life. That's right. That is my absolute passion. And today's topic is going to be an interesting one because not many naturopaths, not many healthcare professionals, not many people talk about this topic. I think it's a very important topic to talk about. The thing is I grew up in a household from a wog mother who was always saying, you buy cotton is good. Well, not really like that, but you know what I mean. She was pushing for me to mostly wear cotton clothing. And, through my teenage years, when you go out clubbing, when you go out, you're not going to be wearing cotton, right? You're going to be wearing that cotton t-shirt and things like that. But there is something behind it, right? Not only that, she would always wash her clothes before putting them on when you buy new clothes, right? What is it all that about? Because she knew the effects that clothes may have on your health. That is exactly what I'm going to be talking about today. I'm so excited. I'm so pumped. Let's get straight into it, right? In 2019, H&M and IKEA decided to test pre-consumer textile wastes and post-consumer clothing casts off from other brands that they collected in Europe because they were potentially going to recycle them into new products, which is an absolutely great initiative. So, H&M and IKEA got together, got all these bunch of clothes and said, you know what, let's test them before we use them and make products with them because we don't want to be passing on potential chemicals and potential harmful chemicals and textiles on our brand, right? So what they did is they tested them, which was so interesting, and they released the results, right? The study found that 8.7% of all the samples contained trace amounts of chromium, which is a heavy metal and carcinogenic that can cause rash when absorbed into the skin. So a lot of us may have skin rashes and we may not think it's clothes related, we may think it's food, we may think it's environmental and so forth, right? They also contained, probably not going to pronounce this, right, but let's give it a go, alkylophenol ethioxylates, known as APEOS, in 27% of the post-consumer samples. These are endocrine disruptors, right? They mess with your hormones, infertility issues, fertility, thyroid, pituitary glands, so forth, so many issues, maybe because the clothes, right? These results apparently were not surprising for individuals who are in the fashion industry because they actually know what's happening. To me, it was a huge surprise because I don't work in the fashion industry. I don't go and make clothes. I don't work in those big factories. And you know what the interesting thing is? Not a lot of people do work in those big factories because we give that work away to other countries such as India, Pakistan, China, and so forth to do our dirty chemical work, which is absolutely disgusting. But that's another rant right there. Okay. So Nike apparently estimates that there are more than 3,000 chemicals used in footwear and apparel manufacturing alone. From detergents, solvents, acids, and sourcing compounds to dyes, anti-wrinkle treatments, and biocides, they have effectively exported the dirty business overseas, as I said, and then we get the end outcome, which is also filled with chemicals. So not only do the individuals who make the product suffer, we suffer also, right? So the evidence that these chemicals harm garment workers is abundantly clear. It has been called a global health crisis, right? And you may think, okay, well, the issue's over there. It's not in my country, which is a really bad way to look at it, but some individuals may. Well, that's not the answer. The answer is you're wearing those clothes, which means it's also impacting you, your backyard, you, your family, your friends, right? According to the 2020 Fashion Revolution Transparency Index, half of the 250 largest global brands don't have a restricted substance list. What's this list? It's a list of substances which you cannot use in your clothing manufacturing, right? So half of these 250 big brands don't even have restricted substance list. So it'd be good to find out if you have a favorite brand, contact them. Hey mate, how you going? Do you have a restricted substance list? Amazing. Can you send it to me? Right? How good would that be? Because that gives you back the power, gives the consumer back the power so you can see what is in your clothes, right? And just a quarter of these have committed to eliminating hazardous chemicals from their supply chain by a certain time, such as 2020, 2025, 2030. It's like a little map that everyone has, their individual maps, individual goals, individual policies, and so forth, right? That's a little bit of an introduction into who would have thought I would ever talk about fashion, right? I'm so not a fashion individual. I'm so not a clothing guru or anything along those lines. Who would have thought I'll talk about it? But I am here to talk about it to make sure that your health is on point, because it can be impacting it. Because unless you're a nudist, you're probably wearing clothes every single day, right? So the part that I'm going to go into next is what toxic chemicals should you be most worried about in the clothes, okay? So you know how we're talking about cotton, right? Even conventional cotton is grown with genetically modified seeds and sprayed heavily with Roundup, right? One of the main ingredients, glyphosate, which has been clearly linked to cancer, and we know it, right? So you may be buying, I'm doing a good thing. I'm buying that cotton shirt. It may be made from GMO seeds and heavily sprayed with Roundup, right? And other toxic pesticides that these fabric, even after manufacturing, it may stay in there, right? Many textiles also contain chlorine bleach, formaldehydes, VOCs, PFCs, ammonia, and or other harmful chemicals. So let's go talk about a few of them and let's see what they're used for, what they're found in, and what the concern is, right? First one is glyphosate. Roundup can be known as that, right? Is the main ingredient. So it's used for herbicides in cotton growing, right? Found in cotton clothes, right? The concern, what is the concern? The concern is carcinogenic, potentially linked to autism. Whoa, that is mind-blowing. If you know a kid with autism, or if you know someone with autism, are they wearing non-organic cotton clothes? May that be making the autism worse or something along those lines? Make the link. This is why I'm here to provide you the information. Link it up, right? Next one, chlorine bleach. Chlorine bleach. Used for whitening and stain removal. Found in natural fiber cotton processing like denim, right? Concerns with asthma and respiratory problems, issues. Some individuals may have asthma due to their clothes. Another one, formaldehyde, right? Mainly used for wrinkle-free, also shrinkage, carried for dyes and prints. Found in natural fibers like cotton or anything that has been dyed or printed. Most of the tops that we know have been dyed or printed, right? What's the concern? Carcinogenic. This is extreme. This is not going to give you a cold and flu. Well, it may, but it can give you cancer. Wake up, people. These clothes may be giving you cancer. This is absolutely extreme, right? VOCs, which are used in solvents, used in all parts of textile supply chain, particular for printing, found in finished textiles, especially printed, natural and synthetic products, right? The issue is the off-gassing, which is a huge issue for the workers. We want to protect the workers that are making these beautiful clothes for us. VOCs cause development and reproductive system damage, skin, eye irritation, and liver and respiratory problems, and some VOCs are carcinogenic. If you still don't know what carcinogenic means, it means it may potentially give you cancer. Next one, PFCs, right? Used in creating durable water resistance as stain repellent, right? Found in finished textiles, especially printed, natural and synthetics, especially uniforms and outdoor clothing. All those individuals that are hiking, water resistant, right? Can be carcinogenic, bioaccumulative, which builds up in the bloodstream, persistent and toxic to the environment. It may not be toxic just to you, also to the environment. I'm keep going, right? We've got here brominated flame retardants, right? Used to stop clothes from burning. Where do we find this? Kids' clothing all the time. If you have any kids in your family, or if you're a parent or so forth, and they have any clothes which are potentially may stop them from burning, right, which are flame retardants, they may be neurotoxic, endocrine disrupted, carcinogenic, and bioaccumulative in their bloodstream. Poor. Bam, right there, right? Ammonia provides shrinkage resistance, so the clothes don't shrink when you wash them, right? Found in natural fibers. Issue absorbed into lungs, can burn eyes, nose, and throat. Another one, heavy metals such as lead, chromium, cadmium, and so forth, right? Used for dyeing, used in leather tanning, and anatomy is used for making polyester, right? Finished product is found in finished textiles, especially dyed or printed, natural and synthetic. Issue is highly toxic, can cause DNA reproductive issues, damage blood cells, kidney, liver, environmental damage again, right? Another one is phthalates and plastisols, which is used in printing, found in printing inks and processes, huge endocrine disruptors, right? These are chemicals behind treatments that make clothes wrinkle or shrinkage free, flame resistance, waterproof, stain resistance, mildew resistance, or cling free. All fabrics can accept these toxins finishes, so avoid them. You need to specifically select products that haven't been chemically finished. That was a lot of toxins that I provide you with. I'm not expecting you to remember all of them. Maybe write them down, that would be good. Replay this and write them down, that would be absolutely brilliant. But what I'm trying to say is I'm trying to put information, knowledge out there so you know that these clothes may be causing you health issues, especially if you're a highly sensitive individual, or you live with a highly sensitive individual, or you have kids or carer or so forth, right? These clothes need to be making you healthy, not making you sick. So what are some common clothes to avoid? I think I'm going to mention about 8, right? Well, I was going to mention the first one is tight clothing, right? It doesn't really have much to do with material that may be making you maybe making you sick, but actually tight clothing may be making you sick because these tight clothing can lead to various health concerns, including digestive issues, right? If you're having such huge tight clothing, digestive issues is absolutely crazy. Many people use clothing to create a certain look, right? So they suck it in and they have really tight clothing, right? But it can cause discomfort, indigestion, heartburn, issues and so forth, even pain, right? Abdominal pain, stomach, not being able to digest the food properly, right? And for men, it's an absolutely huge issue, right? Wearing tight pants can put themselves at risk of testicular and bladder issues, right? Number 2, the clothes to kind of avoid are raincoats. So any type of waterproof items, right? because they contain chemicals, right? Clothing that is waterproof or stain resistant may seem as a bonus because you're like, boom, I'm not going to get wet, right? However, it can contain huge amounts of PFAs, which became popular in the US around 1940s when manufacturing companies released they could resist heat, grease, stains, and water. They're often referred to as forever chemicals since they are lingering in the environment for thousands of years. Huge issue, right? They may have been phased out of manufacturing industry. These chemicals can still be found in leather and textiles. Labels that contain the word GORE, tox, or Teflon may signal the presence of PFAs, which are most commonly found in outdoor clothing. Okay, it may be exposure to this may be associated with kidney and testicular cancer, liver damage, and development issues. Right. Huge issue. The Center of Disease Control also considered skin contact an issue, okay, and also breathing issues from it, okay. So there's another one. So let's get into another one, which is just t-shirts or underwear with phthalates. Such an interesting one, right? Phthalates are known for making substances like plastic durable and flexible, right? So even though there may have been a ban on phthalates in toys and children products in 2008, chemicals continue to be still in manufacturing. In 2012, the environmental watchdog Greenpeace sampled more than 140 clothing items and detected phthalates in 31 of these 140. 3 t-shirts and a pair of underwear from popular clothing had very high concentration of phthalates, meaning the chemical compromised up to 38% of their weight, right? Found in jeans, raincoats, and artificial leather. They've been linked to, ready? ADHD, asthma, diabetes, breast cancer, along a number of reproductive issues, including decreased reproductive function in men and endometriosis in women. For now, phthalates pose a great risk to children who may put these clothes in their mouth. It is an issue and it needs to be resolved, right? Now, this one is a bit of a wow. Baby bibs. Lead has been discovered in baby bibs. Wow, right? Children are particularly susceptible to toxic chemicals since their bodies are so little and still developing, so cute, and they also weigh less, which means if they're exposed to the same amount as you and I, their exposure is higher because of their body weight. So in 2006 and 7, when the Center of Environmental Health found lead in baby bibs sold at Walmart and Babies R Us, 5 of the bibs contained lead levels above 600 parts per million. The safety threshold set was 100 parts per million, so 6 times more, right? They recalled the items, right? Children exposed to lead can suffer permanent brain damage, which often results in learning disabilities and increased violent behavior. So while bibs are made of Violin, which is PVC, they're not sold as often today. It's still possible to buy them. So make sure you know where these baby bibs are coming from and if they have chemicals in them. The other one, next one is such an interesting, is new clothes. I'm talking about all new clothes you may want to stay away from, right? So why? Formaldehyde, right? New clothing, if your new clothing smells like chemicals, and we know exactly what smell we're talking about. And this is also when you go to the shops, right? When you go to the shops and you enter the shop and you get that wasp of like that new smell, you may be exposing yourself to chemicals right then and there, right? It's likely due to formaldehyde. It's a colorless gas that frequently associated with embalming. These chemicals help keep clothes free of wrinkles, static or stains, and even after multiple washes, right? It can't be scrubbed off with water and detergent. That's the issue. In 2010, the US Environmental Accountability Office released its finding after testing 180 pieces of clothing for formaldehyde. The office found that most of the samples were below 20 parts per million, what's considered as non-detectable levels of formaldehyde. Why? Indicating that chemicals have been linked to asthma, nausea, and even cancer. Wearing clothes with formaldehyde is even more commonly associated with dermatitis, which tends to be affected with those who have skin issues. They may also get rashes, blisters, skin itch, and so forth, right? So when individuals buy new clothes, most people just go, I'll just put it on straight away. That dress looks amazing. I need it for tomorrow. They put it on. What happens next? They get all these rashes. They get itchy, causes a skin reaction. That may be because of formaldehyde, right? The other one is azio dye found in blue jeans. It can be carcinogenic. So this is your blue jeans. You know when you're wearing blue jeans and you look at your hands and you're like, oh my gosh, my hands are blue. I'm blue, double D, double da. It may be because of the azo dye, right? And this is can release cancer-causing chemicals called amines through. Some have been found to be carcinogenic because of other chemicals. Certain forms of this dye have already been banned from clothing in the European Union. Some also require a warning label in some countries. Interesting what Australia has to say to this. But scientists have determined that the health risk of consume is relatively low, but the potential risk of cancer warrants further research. So there is a risk it may cause cancer. Interesting, right? I mean, if it makes your hands blue and skin is the biggest organ that sucks anything in that's on it, I would be considering this, right? Next one is organic compounds called NPEs that are in many clothing, right? So from this sample that was done in 2012, from 140 clothing, 90 of those clothing showed evidence of a chemical called non-phylophenol ethylosilatase, NPEs. In addition to being used during clothing production, they're also found in laundry detergents, right? So not only are the clothes that you're buying have it, but what you're washing it with may have it also, right? The EU have banned the production of these clothing since 16 years ago. The chemicals have been associated with reproductive and development issues in rats and have been found in human breast milk, blood, and urine. So the biggest concern of them is that it causes also a risk for environmental damage, including our animals in the water, which is quite sad, right? I can talk about so many more, but the last one that I'll put on there is leather jackets or leather, right? Leather overall. It can contain chromium, right? Animal hide is treated by a process called tanning that turns it into leather. Since the days of the industrial revolutions, tanning has relied on chromium, a chemical that has leather stretchy and the way it looks and the way it feels, it makes it like that, right? So what's been happened is that this can cause skin irritation, right? There was a 2015 study found that the chemical became less potent over time when it becomes in contact with skin through leather. Right, interesting there. We have spoken about so many different clothes that may be making you sick. First, we spoke about all the chemicals, right, to stay away from. Then some clothes in particular. So now you're thinking, Mihaela, what do I do? Oh my gosh, you told me to buy organic food. You told me to cook with these two things. And now you're talking about clothes. Let me put you at ease. There's some simple things that you can do. Look out for. I mean, you don't have to chuck out your whole wardrobe and start fresh. I'm all about being simple and sustainable, right? So 3 tips that I want to provide you with to ensure that your clothes are not making you sick. Let's go into it. Number 1 is look out for certifications, right? What certifications am I looking for? I'm talking about certifications such as GOTS, Oecotex, and Cradle to Cradle certified products, right? So Cradle to Cradle certified products initiative that came out from William, now classical book, measures material health, social justice, blah, 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 so forth, all right? So what to look out for? So the Blue Sign and Oecotex are standards that address and help to eliminate the harmful substances in textiles, increasing environmental health and safety. Both focus specifically on toxic chemicals that are added to the garments during the manufacturing process. Many brands also have self-policies to issue their own restricted substances list, right? While Blue Sign and Oecotex are making great progress on toxicity front, GOTS, which is the Global Organic Textile Standards, takes things a step further by considering the fiber source and other layers of production. It's really a huge standard, right? They're truly sustainable textiles from farm to finished product. So that's the top one to look out for, GOTS. You can go on their website and figure out a bit more and find out which products may be that. I remember about a few months ago, I bought a pillow and it had the classification of Oecotex, right? Because I'm sleeping on a pillow all the time. So it's not just about clothing, it's things around you also. But let's keep it simple for today, right? Clothing. The other one is simple. Wash your clothes when you buy them. Wash your clothes when you buy them. As soon as you buy a dress, a shirt, shorts, whatever, put them in the wash with your healthy, chemical-free detergent, remember? So it's so important because what we put on our clothes is just as important as what we put into our bodies, right? Many people think that cotton may be natural, it's so natural, but between the pesticides and the herbicides and the chlorine and the GMO and so forth, they may not be so natural, right? And as I said, formaldehydes are found in new clothes, right? Especially ones that are made overseas, and it's known as a carcinogenic. So why wouldn't you wash your clothes, wash your new clothes before you put them on? Make sure they're dried outside, not in a dryer, dried outside in the sun, right? Next one is buy organic. What? You can have organic clothes? Yes, correct. Especially organic cotton. So interesting, right? Organic textiles, specifically GOT certified, means organic from farm to finished product is a huge part, right, of this whole resolution, right? So organic fiber agriculture, like organic food, builds and protects our earth ecosystem and benefits consumers, farmers, and also the workers, right? We're looking after the workers. We're looking after us. We're looking after the workers. This is amazing, right? Certified organic cotton is grown GMO-free and is never treated with fungicides, synthetic pesticides, or fertilizer, and uses 71% less water and 62% less energy than conventionally produced cotton. This is amazing. This is absolutely amazing, right? So the thing is that we need to look out for these. So if this product is organic, GOT certified, it's also free from heavy metals, chlorine, bleach, formaldehydes, and aromatic solvents, making it free of carcinogenic and other toxic chemicals, right? Which may be making you sick. So 3 little tips right there for you to ensure how to make sure that your clothes are not making you sick, right? Absolutely amazing. I hope that you love this episode just as much as I love producing this information, researching this information, and presenting it to you. I want you to have optimal health. I want you to take charge of your health. Another little bonus tip that just came to me is call your manufacturer, ask them if they've got policies in place themselves, if they have a list of substances they do not use when making their clothes, right? Another thing is also stay away from those fake clothes, because there's fake Adidas, Gucci, so forth, all those fake clothes most likely will have those nasty chemicals in them, on them, and so forth. All right, I hope that you absolutely enjoyed this podcast. Do what you do best. Love, like, share, rate, review, subscribe to the Natural Health Podcast so you stay in the loop for optimal health. Until next Monday, love you.